And to tell you how proud I was when she graduated. She told me that she was the only Black woman to graduate from the School of Mechanical Engineering in 2019. I couldn't have been more proud. Not that I wasn't as proud when my son graduated from mechanical engineering, but it was the fact that here she was as a woman, and also a woman of color, and certainly as a woman of color myself. I was exceedingly proud to see my daughter walk across the stage before the coronavirus.
Lucky you.
So lucky me, yeah, right. As a woman, and as a woman in a field that historically has not been something that women go into, not certainly engineering, and not certainly mechanical engineering. So both Adam and Robbie went to Purdue, and I tell you, one of the things that I think is so true about our experience with Purdue is something Anita alluded to, which has been the word of mouth. And actually, Adam, our son, ended up going to Purdue largely because Adam's godmother, who was my good friend in medical school, went to Purdue. And she said, I want him to look at Purdue. And I was like, Purdue? I've never heard of Purdue. I'm not a native Midwesterner. And so I was like, oh, okay, if you say it's a good place, we'll go look at it. But, you know, I don't know anything about it. And when we came, you know, after looking at about, I guess maybe 6 universities, I'm like, they all look the same. And so I wasn't overly impressed until I got the invitation for a weekend. Come to Purdue for the weekend with your student and the parents, and spend the weekend. And by time we spent the weekend with the MEP program, I was sold. And the reason was that one of the things that is really, really hard for young people, especially young people when they are away from home, and young people when they are tackling not only being a freshman in college, but being away from home, is feeling some sort of connectivity, feeling as though they have some sort of support. And I remember when I went for that weekend with our son, one of the things that Miss Booth said was, I'm going to look after your son. She told me that. She said, I'm going to look after your son. And I thought to myself, oh, she's probably says that to everybody about their kids. But sure enough, when there were things that came up at school, Adam would say to me, well, I talked to Miss Booth and here's what she said. Or I went to the MEP study room and here's what happened. Or I talked to some of the people in the MEP program who've taken this class and this is what they said. Or Miss Booth had us all over for Easter dinner, and man, she can make really good macaroni and cheese. It's not as good as yours, Mom, but she can make good macaroni and cheese.
You better say that.
Yeah, gotta say that. So I think one of the things that sold me, like I said, and you know, any of the young people who are going to Purdue can pretty much go to any university that they want to go to. Both of my kids were accepted to, you know, top-notch universities, from Ohio State to Duke to University of Michigan. But we ended up coming to Purdue because I felt like my kids would be, number one, safe, that there would be people who would look after them, that there would be a connectivity with a group of people that they felt comfortable with, and that even though it would be really, really hard, it would be super, super hard, they could make it. And they could make it because they would know that even though mom and dad aren't right there by their side, there were other people who were invested in them. And so after Adam started, our kids are 2 years apart. Adam was in his junior year when Robbie started in her freshman year. And it was amazing to me that she decided to go there, because she was like, I don't want to follow in Adam's footsteps. But she too came and did the summer program. I think it's Might. Yes, Might. And had a good time. In fact, she's very, very good friends even today with a young lady that went through the Might program with her. In fact, she came over to our house here in Cleveland. She now works in Cleveland for my birthday to help me celebrate my birthday with my daughter. And so Robbie made a lasting friendship in Might that even all these years later, well over 6 years later, she's still good friends. And I think that what Purdue and the MEP program have gotten, how would I say, spot on, is that you develop students as they're coming through in high school. You develop that connectivity, and you develop a support system and a mechanism of support for them, and they will come and they will be successful in terms of graduating, but then beyond graduation, be even more successful. Both of my children are employed. Yay! Off the payroll. Yes, off the payroll. My daughter works for Procter and Gamble, and my son works for Emerson. And I couldn't ask for a better outcome coming right out of college, and both of them being employed. They live in their own apartments. They pay their own bills. And other than mom and dad being there to sort of support when we're trying to make sort of critical decision making, and I just want to run something by you, they're pretty independent. And I have Purdue to thank for that.
That's great. Michael Robertson.
Yeah, I think that for what I really appreciate is how Samuel was able to adjust in college, from high school to college. And I think the academic boot camp had a lot to do with that. If there was any anxiety and any fear, that was removed with the academic boot camp. Also, connectivity. My son is really quiet, and so he's not one to make a whole lot of friends. He's kind of a bookworm, but he immediately was connected with MEP, and also Ms. Wolf and Mr. Bacon assured us that they'd be looking out for him, and I know definitely they have been. And so like I mentioned earlier, it's almost like a family away from home. I know Mr. Bacon and I, we spoke on the phone about 3 hours the other night. It's just it's just a closeness. I know that they're looking out for my son, and my son really likes the school. He goes to the MEP program and studies there. The friends that he made there are really good friends, and the adjustment has just been awesome. And so he's been able to focus, to remain focused, because he likes to be focused on what he likes to be focused on. He doesn't like to get distracted. He's not into sports. And so I think the MEP program helped him to be able to focus on academics and still have an enjoyable time at Purdue. So, yeah.
Dr. Swally, well, looks like you're Dr. Swally. Would you like to add?
Okay, so I would throw out that my research with that group of students I was telling you about, the 20 students, what we tell them is to make sure they do get involved. Our actual research portion of the program is to show that actually getting in, you know, they have mentors in high school and your family, but make sure that as they grow and grow at Purdue, they get professors and staff and upperclassmen into that network. So the more involved they are on campus, the more they feel a part of it. And if they feel a part of it, they're going to do whatever they can to stay and be successful.
Great, great. Anyone else want to add before we move on? One question here in the chat is, you're doing all this talking, what is MEP? I could, of course, answer that, but I like it. What is a parent's, what's your perspective of what is MEP? So I'll start off by saying that MEP is designed to recruit and yield underrepresented students who are underrepresented in engineering. Our focus is toward Hispanic, African American, Native American students. I think also Hawaiian, Native Hawaiian, as well as Pacific Islanders. Those are our focus, but of course we work with any students. So we have students within engineering majors, first year engineering, but we also have some other students who like to come over to MEP just because they like the environment. From a parent's perspective, what do you see MEP as? Maybe you've said it already.
I'll just point out one thing about MEP that I heard. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that Purdue had the first minority engineering program in the country. And I heard this from a friend of mine who runs the minority engineering program at NC State. Mm-hmm. And when she heard that my children were going to Purdue and that they were connected to Ms. Booth, she was really excited because she said that the MEP program at Purdue is the model for minority engineering programs around the country. And I can say that for my children, my students, I shouldn't say children because they're young adults now, but for my students, it has been a place where they get support, they can be refreshed because they can go there with their peers. They're all kind of going through the same struggle. They can ask for help if they need help in a particular subject. They can find out about scholarship opportunities. They can find out about job opportunities. They can just have an ear to listen to them if they need someone to just talk to them about the struggles of being an engineering student. And in particular, as a student of color, I went to a majority white institution. My husband and I both went to majority white institutions in the 90s in the University of Pennsylvania. And it is really challenging being a person of color at a majority white institution in a discipline that is extremely intellectually challenging. And so we can't underscore enough how challenging it is for our students to go to this, to be part of this program. And they work hard to get in there, and it's just as hard once they're there. And so MEP really gives them to me, it gave them the tools and the resources. And it was like I wouldn't say a safety net, but it was a place they could go. They knew they could go when they just needed to be refreshed.
Anyone else? Thank you.
I would echo that same thing in terms of, a sort of a safe haven and a place to go where you feel refreshed. I too, as a person who went to a majority school back in the 80s, so quite a while back, I can remember the isolation that I felt. I was pre-med, and the courses were challenging, and the sort of subtle to sometimes not so subtle racism. I can remember being in my chemistry lab and no one wanting to be my lab partner. And finally, the teaching assistant assigning someone to be my lab partner. And the guy that got assigned sort of threw his notebook down and rolled his eyes and said, "Oh, why do I have to be her partner?" And I was devastated. I mean, and there wasn't really any place to go. A couple of other minorities who were in school with me sympathized with me that evening, and then we went right back to sort of hold our own. The difference here with MEP is that there's an organized infrastructure where there are people who are on staff, on faculty, that are your support and that help with networking and connectivity. I can't begin to tell you how shocked I was when after my son's first year in college, he told me he had gone out to dinner with some people to look at some jobs. And I was like, "But you're a freshman." And he said, "Yeah, Mom, but they had a job fair and I got help doing my resume, and some of the recruiters took me out to dinner." And I was like, "Who are these people? You shouldn't be going anywhere." And I later found out that this was something that is basically standard practice in terms of companies coming to places, usually Big Ten schools like Purdue, to look for talented young people to join their companies. And so my children have, young adults have always worked either in co-ops or in the summer after the school year was out. And I think that work, especially I know for my daughter, doing 2 internships at Procter & Gamble made it easier for her to be hired by Procter & Gamble. And my son went to work for a company because he developed expertise in working with natural gas and oil from one of his co-ops at Chevron. So I think MEP is not only sort of the safe haven, but it is also the place that helps with connectivity in terms of getting your resume together, helping you look the part and dress the part, helping you to do internships, study abroad, co-ops. It really does not only help you get through your 4 years of college, but set you up for having a job.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else?
I agree. I agree with you. The support that our kids are receiving from MEP. I would like to tell you another thing. For us, Rensselaer was free. Gainesville was free. Purdue is not free. But we did the math with the internship and the co-op. We balanced the budget. But I think the support from MEP is excellent. The tutoring, my son is taking advantage of the tutoring, and usually he has meeting with upper class classmates, and they advise them how to study for a specific class. I think that one thing that is I think that is a big difference with Purdue and other university has the the supplemental instructor. They meet with a student who they already have taken the class and share with them the material. They discuss the problems. And I think that my son is working with in MEP. And I think the support is excellent. We compare that with other university, and there is no difference. There is a big difference between them with this program.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you. We'll move on if no one else has a comment. Affordability. There's a question in the chat, and it relates to affordability. And I'm going to ask parents advice because everyone is trying to get a scholarship. Everyone that I talk to, every parent, every incoming freshman, that is the number one subject that they want to talk about. I don't say number one, but it's a very popular subject. So parents, how do you make college affordable? What are your experiences? Or even ways that help to offset your costs that might be just like a scholarship? Any comments?
Well, when you look at the internships that, you know, these students are getting, I mean, I was embarrassed to tell people how much my daughter was making in her summer internship because it was so far above what, you know, other people's, you know, college students were making that it was, you know, so, I mean, that itself, you know, like the gentleman just said, that helps balance the budget. You know, I mean, we don't take it for tuition, but she can use that so we don't have to give her spending money. So, and then there's so many different scholarship opportunities for these students. I made a deal with Christina early on that, you know, if you, whatever scholarships you could apply for, you know, you get on your own, I'll hold 10% for you, for your personal use. So she's constantly, you know, trying to apply for scholarships, you know, all over the place. And she's had some significant success. I mean, it's been amazing, but she's really motivated because she said, well, if I get $1,000 scholarship, I get 100 of it. Okay. You know, so, I mean, that's been very motivating for her. So, I mean, and it helps. I tell her every penny counts. I don't care if it's, you know, $500, $200, whatever. So I'm going to say 10 different things she's gotten over the 4 years, you know, so it's been extremely helpful, very helpful. But you got to have your eyes open, looking for it, you know, and, you know, write your essays and, you know, get your references lined up, and you just have to, you know, be organized with it. And it's not difficult to apply for if you're organized with all your information. So, yeah.
Sometimes you can send the same essay.
I know. I'm gonna say that, but
the questions, they are almost the same.
Yeah. Just have your stock essay that you took a long time writing, and you can use, you know, have like 3 different essays.
Reuse.
Yeah. So
We do want parents to know that for Purdue, for merit scholarship opportunities, the application with all the accompanying materials must be submitted by November 1. Otherwise, you will not be considered. So it's absolutely essential that all the application, the transcripts, all the accompanying documents are in, you know, to Purdue by November 1, because you're not even in the game for scholarships if that application's not submitted by November 1. Other comments?
So I think one of the things that was said was in terms of the internships and the co-ops. And I would just echo what the other parents have said. I could not believe that my son and my daughter, after 1 year of college, were getting summer internships that were paying them over $25 an hour. I just couldn't believe it. When they were like, oh yeah, I'm making $27, $28 an hour. And the amount of moving bonuses and travel expense and signing, but I just couldn't believe it. And I think it's like anything else. One of the great things that Purdue and the MEP program have done is through the years, they have established a network with various companies, organizations, such that those companies and organizations know what the Purdue product is coming out of the School of Engineering. And therefore, they're willing to recruit and to pay top dollar to have a student intern or co-op with them, and then potentially end up being hired by that company. And so paying for school, we did the math just like the other gentleman had mentioned. My son could have gone to Ohio State. The in-state tuition, with all the grants and scholarships and things that he would have been eligible for at Ohio State, versus some of the support money that he got from MEP, as well as other scholarships that he had applied for and gotten, made it almost a wash, the exact same in terms of in-state tuition at Ohio State versus coming to Purdue. And then with him getting co-op and summer opportunities, my son in his first summer worked in Atlanta for Kimberly-Clark. And like Anita was saying, we made him save that money. You can't just throw it all away on pizza and chicken wings. You have to.
As students do.
Yeah, they do. But you have to save some of that money. And, Anita had a strategy in terms of incentivizing her daughter. Me, I was just like, hand me that check, because you throwing away that money. So I think one of the things, my husband and I paid for tuition. The kids worked with internships and co-ops. They got scholarships. And then I made both of my children take out loans in their own name with me as a co-signer towards the end. And the reason why I did that was so that they would understand that nothing is free. Nothing is free. This is your degree, and you should have some skin in the game. Yes, you wrote essays, and yes, you worked and contributed your money. But guess what? When you graduate, you basically are graduating with a very valuable degree, and you have basically very little student loan debt. So I actually made my kids at the end, in their last year, take out between $8,000 and $10,000. And actually, Purdue Credit Union gives a very nice student loan package. It's an easy application process. There's no interest on the loan initially while they're getting up on their feet. And that $8,000 or $10,000, now that the kids are working and paying it off, it's not that onerous.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just wanted to add one other thing about Purdue's tuition, because I don't know if that was mentioned, but Purdue has done a really excellent job of keeping, in general, the tuition rates very competitive as compared to other universities. When we looked at, my husband and I looked at our alma mater, the cost of attendance, tuition, and room and board was $72,000 a year. So, and even in Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania state school systems, the base tuition for in-state students was $33,000, I think, $33,000 a year. So Purdue, when you look at it, their base rate for in-state is like in the 20s, and out of state, it's like in the 40s. So the value, and I know this doesn't help you, decide how to pay for it, but when you look at the cost of attendance there, it's so much less than I think so many of the other universities that were mentioned. There's people mentioning other options that their students had. The value that you get, and then the point being made of the job opportunities and the fact that, everyone that I've heard on this panel, their kids, if they're graduating, has a job lined up or has a job after they graduate. If they've had kids that or students that have left the university, they have jobs, which it says a lot. And in this kind of economy, when you think about that, that is like, worth its weight in gold.
I think that if you take the ranking from Purdue, the ranking and the cost of the tuition is the best university, I think.
A good friend of mine, his son started an engineering program at Cincinnati a year after Christina started. And we have conversations sometime. And I actually, again, feel really kind of guilty because, I was asking, like, do businesses come? Do you guys have that? I guess they call it IR at Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, no, not really. And his son he's a junior now. He has not had an internship anywhere. I said, how could, I was thinking in my mind, how could that be? I mean, any kid at Purdue that wants an internship in an engineering program, they'll get one, their situation is totally different. I think I'm not saying it's not a good school, but I said, wow, we're really fortunate that she's at the school she's at because her opportunities are just so, so different than, other places. I'm not saying there's no other good schools, but I just thought I could not believe his son, there are no recruiters coming to that school for engineers. It was amazing. But.
Wow. Well, we were supposed just to go ahead.
I was going to say, for recruiters, we're one of the top schools that recruiters are ever going to say for getting students, and it will be, even if the economy is bad, Purdue is the last place that they will stop coming to because they want to be sure their name is out there once things look a little bit better, that the kids will know that they have the possibility of working for them. So even in bad economies, Purdue still has a very good rate of companies coming to campus, telling the kids about their company and hiring.
Great, thank you. We're winding down. We imagine this to go for an hour, and we can go longer, but we want to be respectful of your time. So before we go today, I'd like a round robin to just go around for any advice that you would like to give to a parent, any comments that you've not had an opportunity to make tonight. In closing, I'm going to give you guys that opportunity. So we'll just start. Anita, if you have any comments, we'd love to hear them.
I would just say if your child is interested in engineering, I can't imagine they'd have any better place to go than Purdue. I consider it very affordable. It's a great, in a great community. It's in a safe community, and it's, from what I can see, the kids that I'm familiar with, they all thrive. I don't know any kid that's in that program that's not thriving. I'm not saying it's easy or they're coasting through, but they're thriving, and their opportunities when they're done will be endless. Again, and also my daughter has a job lined up for next year already as well. When she graduates, she'll start her job right after she graduates. So what more can I say?
Okay, Michael, Mr. Robertson. I'm just going across, so you're next.
I was trying to get off mute. It's basically what I've been saying all along. The support, engage with your child, communicate with them, find out what they're going through, encourage them, no matter what they're facing. Even if they get
Do
a
you want to
bad
lift it
grade,
into the church?
you know, let them know
Hey,
that, you know, it's not the end of the world. You
get
know,
it.
just help to lift them up no matter what they're going through. And from what I've seen, that if you do that, things tend to just go well for them. So encouragement is a powerful, powerful force. So that's about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Natasha? Mrs. Campbell?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. I would just say that gaining admission and matriculating to Purdue is just the first step. And the engineering program is extremely challenging, but it's also extremely rewarding. And I think that the students that go through that, they have a special sense of accomplishment because they know that they have, quote unquote, survived one of the toughest engineering programs in the country. And you know, I would just kind of underscore the fact that as you're making your decision or helping your student make their decision about where to go, that's a big factor. But the value for the money is a big factor. I think also it's something that you know, after having been 4 years now at Purdue with a student at Purdue and another one who's there now, the value for the money, it's unbelievable what you get for what you're paying. And I don't think any other university, I haven't seen any other university that offers that kind of value. Also, I'll offer up my students as a resource. So if anyone wants to talk to someone who is, my daughter's an industrial engineering major, also heavily involved in NSBE, vice president of NSBE this year, and my son, aerospace engineering. If anyone wants to have a student to talk to or have their student talk to a student, I'll offer them up as a resource as well. You can reach out to me at any time.
Can you put your email in the chat? Oh,
I will do that. Yep.
thank you. Thank you. Dr. Swally?
Okay, I'm a little biased for Purdue since I'm a third generation Boilermaker. So I love it, bleed black and gold. But as the parents say, there are so many opportunities for the kids. And I would say as a parent, remember, be the kid's your child's sounding board, and just don't think you have to solve their problem for them. Just kind of give them ways, you know, people that make sure that they're taking advantage of the opportunities they have here at MEP, at supplemental instruction, at the tutoring center at Purdue, our MEP office, and they will thrive.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Suarez?
I think that the marketplace, the engineering has a lot of demand right now. And there are universities that prepare engineers, and probably they will find $20 and even $25 per hour. But I think that the toolbox that the student from Purdue, they will have a lot of tools to be a success engineer. They will learn the tools that they need to be success. With the assessment that they are doing during the classes, they are doing the outcomes assessment. With all of those programs that Purdue is doing during the courses that they are taking, will be a successful engineer.
Thank you. Last but not least, Dr. Sherry Williams.
Oops, sorry, I was on mute. So I would just echo some of the things that have been said by the other parents. It's certainly a great return on investment in terms of all of us as parents. We've invested a lot in our children, and so by the time they're making a choice for college, We want the decision to pretty much, be their decision, but at the same time, we want to make sure that it's a good decision that will serve them well as they head out into the real world and into adulthood. And I would say you just can't go wrong really with choosing Purdue, because your child will have the support. They will have not only the preparation in terms of education, but they will also have the networking and the skills to compete in the job market. They will have opportunities that I know for myself, going through college, I never had the opportunity to spend a semester abroad. My son was a French minor in France, something I could never have thought would ever be possible when I'm a freshman or a second year in college. And so the opportunity for experiences is phenomenal, as well as the job market and the networking opportunities that they get. Lifelong friendships. My son has been out of college now for 4.5 years, and has still very, very good friends from Purdue. And I think that's important too.
Well, tonight, I just want to take a time to give an applause for these parents who took time out of their busy schedule to be with us tonight. I really enjoyed you guys, and I believe that we got some good information. Sports this month, we have programs every night, pretty much, every weeknight. So we invite you to join. You don't have to sign in. If you've been to this event, you just open the link and come on in. And we're here if you have any questions. Parents, if you want to put your information into the chat, we'll stay on as we depart. Everyone have a great evening, and I'll say to you, boiler up. That's what we say.
Boiler up.
Boiler up. So if you want to stay over and ask a question, we're here. We'll be on for a few more minutes. Have a good evening.
Boiler up, hammer down.
Hammer down.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Does anyone have a question? Any questions? Final questions or thoughts?
All right, I'm going to sign off now, Derek. Thank
Have
you
a
all,
good night.
other parents.
Thank you so much
Bye.
for joining us. Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, I do have a question though.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it was Dr. Cheryl that mentioned something when she was talking about scholarships. She kind of mentioned something that her kid got, including help from MEP. What was she referring to?
I can't say for sure. She would have to tell you. Did she leave her email in the chat here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It was somebody else.
Yeah. So I would say there. I know she talked about the monies that came as a result of him applying for scholarships. I know that she alluded to MEP. There are some scholarships for upperclassmen that come through MEP, and they generally go to students who are involved in our program. To be totally honest, because there's a lot of students out there. So so students involved with our program who we know are, that we know their character, we've seen, so very often an upperclassmen, those upperclassmen scholarships, usually when we get those, this is going to go to this type of student with this particular, okay. And very often those kinds of scholarships come through us. Most of the scholarships, you have the merit scholarships, which would be really great. And that's why I talked about November 1st, because many of them you will be automatically considered for. A lot of money is in the colleges. And so once a student is in, even if the second semester at Purdue, they can talk to their advisor and begin applying so that they can be considered once they get into college. Because there's quite a bit of money in the colleges that they'll automatically be considered for or they can apply for. And then our parents mentioned the fact that the students are able to offset their income through internships and co-ops. Co-ops
Yeah.
are a little different. Are you familiar with co-ops?
A little bit, but if you want to tell me more, I'll appreciate it.
Similar to internships, they're job opportunities, but you're more connected to the company. So a co-op, when you sign on a co-op, it's a part of a co-op program. What's different is the monies that they earn are not taxed. They're not taxed. They're not. You don't claim because it's education. Unlike an internship, because it's education, those dollars are not counted in their income, because it's more considered more like a stipend of that nature. So co-ops, students attach themselves to the company. You have to keep them maintain a 3.0 GPA. They are in school that semester that they co-op, and it's typically every other semester. You can do most
Oh, okay.
internships are every other semester. You can move your co-op to do them 2 in a row. Some students do that. Some students, they typically will start maybe at the end of their freshman year and do it for 3 years. It will very often move you, graduate a little later. There are some students who end their co-op early and then they graduate on time. Students do it in different ways, but the type of money and work experience, because if you get a job in a co-op and you've been connected and usually you get this one experience, but then when you come back, then it's increasing responsibility and they're seeing your work. Very often the co-op
Yeah.
students have job opportunities.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value when the student is working. They get more perspective.
They do, because what you're learning in class, you actually apply it.
Yes.
So when you come back to school, you understand your whole, it's like someone's turned on the lights and before you were just reading about this terminology. Now you actually did it and you have some experience. You have some experience with it.
Yes. So I did ask this on the chat, but I don't think I got an answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry, because there were a lot of questions. So any student that would like to do a co-op, they sign up for that and they can get one. I mean, what percentage of students get it? I don't know if it's you have to earn it or.
Well, several schools have co-op opportunities, and engineering is probably the biggest to have co-op opportunities. It's through the Office of Professional Practice. You apply to be a part of the co-op program, and and then there's all these employers that are part of the co-op program. So if you have a high GPA, you've done well in school, and you interview well, then there's a good chance you can get a co-op. You do need to have a 3.0.
Okay.
And you have to maintain a 3.0, because you won't be in the program very long if you don't maintain your GPA.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, and I want to respect your time. I do have the last question. To be part of MEP, does my daughter need to sign up, or
anyone?
I don't even know how I got the email.
Anyone.
We're Hispanic, but I don't know if she needs to send a form or something.
No, MEP is open to all students, and primarily focused students who are African American, Hispanic, Native American, Hawaiian, and Asian Pacific. So all you have to do is show up to be a part of MEP. But some students, but it's by choice. So it's all up to you whether or not you participate. So we have, we'll first week of school, we'll have donuts and in our academic success center where we do the tutoring. Kids come in. There are a lot of kids who just show up first week of school because they want to connect with the other students, or they just come during the day because, you know, it's a place where there's community. During the week before finals, we provide lunch every day. It's more of a community, a support, a resource. A lot of companies come to us because if they want, they're looking for Hispanics, you know, they'll come to us. And so we're a good resource in terms of networking opportunities. Because we'll have a company and they just want to come use our center, and they'll be in our center from 1 to 4, and you just come and find out about our company. Maybe they'll provide pizza that afternoon. You know, it's you're not finding as much of this year because of COVID and their opportunity. Everything is virtual, but usually there's a lot of interaction. Last year, we had a welcome for the students, an MEP welcome to all students. We sent it to all the students, and GE sponsored it. So GE was there to meet people. They took folks' information. You know, there's just a lot of opportunities, but many of the students don't participate in it because, you know, for whatever reason, they choose not to. But we're here, and
Awesome. Okay.
we have a lot of success.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Are you going to be running the other sessions?
I'm behind it. Whether you see me or not, I'm running all of these sessions.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so
we're
you'll
looking forward
probably
to
see me.
those. Yeah, especially the one for the essay. Our daughter is really struggling with that because she wants to make sure she does a really good job.
And she can come to more than one of them. So
Oh, good.
so she can, so long as there's space. We have 25 spots in each session.
Really?
And I'm about to send out an email. They just sent us some information. So you're supposed to have students supposed to have certain things ready before they come, you know. And so I just got that email. So I'll probably send that out first thing in the morning to all the students who have signed up. But we're just a resource. We're here to help. Our goal is to get as many students admitted to Purdue, many of them come to Purdue, and then as many as possible be very successful at Purdue. That's how we gauge ourselves.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I really like Purdue. Really, really like it. But as your first question, like how much do we get involved? How much do we let them be? It's a hard balance, but it's our first choice for sure.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming.
We'll
see
be
you
in touch
this week.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Hi,
Bye.
Mr. Williams.
Hello.
Hi
How
there.
are you?
Hi, I'm well. How are you?
Good.
I was just
good.
calling, or I just wanted to ask if you were going to send a confirmation for the essay, but I think you just mentioned you're going to send something tomorrow morning for the essay workshop.
Yes. So that's a different process. Now, when they signed up, they should have gotten something immediately from the Slate system. What did
I don't believe that she did.
Really?
It could have been because the email address was wrong. I think she. Karina Davis.
What did she? Well, okay. Now remember, there was 2 different signups. There's one sign up for all these sessions.
Yes.
But the essay has a different one. Did she put an incorrect email address when she did that sign up?
It's possible.
Because if she did, let me see if I can go into Slate. Do you know what her correct email address is?
One of the correct ones is Karina Davis at me.com.
Okay, wait a minute. I gotta sign into Slate and see if I can find her here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go to another screen. Excuse me.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's not a problem. Okay, I gotta figure out how to do this because I'm in Karina. How do you spell Karina?
A C. Carina. Davis.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up in the system, and can you put her correct email in the chat because I want to copy and paste it.
Let me see.
I don't want there to be any error.
Yes, she ended up opening up a Gmail for college items, and it is Karina Davis 2020 at gmail.com. That's what she's opened up.
Okay.
She had been using Karina Davis at me.com. is what she had been using.
Okay.
But either of those would work.
Okay, so I'm going to go into Slate and see what it says for her,
Okay.
and I'll attempt to replace it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, that may be because it automatically sent a confirmation. The system did, because for that process. But if it was incorrect, to say the difference with mine was I was manning that system. Slate is just a computer system thing.
Yes.
So all of those, so it's just lost and it didn't go anywhere.
All right.
So
All
I
right.
can go back in and correct that.
All right. And then hopefully she'll be able to participate on Wednesday.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So if there's space, I know that had filled up, and I see we had a number of people who had guests, and it's really just the students. Parents can be on, right there,
Yes.
but because it's limited to space
Yes.
of how many they can assist, those spots on Zoom. I'm getting ready to go in and take those 10 guests out.
Oh, I see. Exactly.
To free up and let other students participate in that session.
Yes. And I think she said she put 0 guests because it was her.
Okay, good.
When she
Okay,
went
well,
through
then she's
hers,
fine.
it may have been wrong because of the email address. It never went anywhere. But I know that she had said, I was hearing her and she said, oh, well, 0 guests because I'm online.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put in Karina Davis 2020 at gmail.com. That's
Yes.
the one I'm going to put in this. So just let her know.
Okay.
And then I will.
And then she also attempted, when she thought maybe she wasn't going to get on this week, she attempted to sign up for the ones next week because she's really anxious. She wants to make sure she has her good essay.
Right. Well, let me do my magic.
Okay.
And let's see what happens. I haven't done this part of the system. I haven't worked with the guest, and I sent out a couple emails about how do I remove the guest.
Yes.
So I'm waiting to get that email. If I get it tonight, I may try to do that tonight. Otherwise, I'll do it first thing in the morning.
And she has a draft ready. She has a draft. She's just trying to, just work on it some more.
No, this is good. This is good. And did she attend the beginning session? She might sit in. Well, it depends. Did she already do her Common App already?
She started it. She's going to do the session tomorrow for Common App.
That's what I was going to say, because he also gives some tips during that. So good. Yeah, tell her to tune into Jania's session.
Okay.
And if she has any questions, be sure to ask, because he's a person who grades applications.
Oh, he's an admissions director, you're saying?
He's associate director in admissions. But, Purdue had I don't know how many they had this year, but last year, 2 years ago, we had 65,000 applications.
Oh my goodness, yes.
It's a very competitive process.
Yes.
And so all the admissions directors, they're all assistant directors. He's an associate director because he's moved up, but all of them grade for certain colleges.
Okay.
And so he has a lot of great knowledge that he can, provide. So the more you tap into him, the better. So thank you so much. I'm going to go in and try to see what I can do. I will make sure if she doesn't, I'm trying to think about the best way to do this. Tomorrow afternoon, probably around 11, she can go click on, it'll let you know there's a waiting list for sessions that are filled up. She might start checking sometime in the morning to see. She might try 2 or 3 times through different time intervals to see whether or not there's an opening on that Wednesday, because that was the first one to fill up.
Yes. And I think she tried to do it, but it may have happened with the email address. Because I remember when she signed up, it wasn't full.
Right.
So I was hoping she got one of those spots, but then she never received anything confirming that she had a spot.
Yeah, and it's probably because they get it automatically. The system does that. If it was the wrong email address, that's the thing with those email addresses, they have to be correct.
Yes.
because, you know, it went to nowhere land.
Okay. And then would that mean that the spot was reserved with that email address, or would it have
No,
just
it
gone
wa-
further?
I can look at that. Let me see if I can, hold on a second. I'm trying to get out of, let me stop sharing. That's what I'll do. Know that I was still sharing. I'm trying to, okay, good. I was trying to get out. Give me just a second.
Thank you.
And let me see. I have to sign into Slate. Thanks for your patience.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Me signing into Slate. Okay, I'm going to go to that particular event,
Mm-hmm.
which is Wednesday. Engineering. Here we go. Engineering. And I need to go to MEP. And I need to go to Wednesdays. And I can look at everyone who's registered. She's registered.
Oh, is she? With which email address?
Let's see. Let's see. Can I edit this here? It's PL234492 at ahschool.com.
Okay,
That's,
that is the school email address then.
so it went to that address.
Really? Okay, so
Yep. So
maybe
she
she
just
just
maybe she probably hasn't read it.
PL234.
PL234492 at ahschool.com. So this is what she put in there.
Okay, all right.
She put in a different one for ours. I mean, I can change this, but you know, I don't know. Let us know if she wants us to change this in this. And this is important because this is the university system. So it needs to be something you're going to read. Because otherwise,
Yes.
it's
Well,
very important. You know.
okay. Now, and she tried to sign up for all four, and it could be she signed up with different email addresses for them because she was talking to her counselor, her school counselor, and the school counselor advised her to open up new email addresses. She said,
Oh,
you should
really?
open up. Yes, it was very strange. She said, don't have everything go to your school email. You need to open up an email address that is going to be just universities. So I think that's where the confusion came. You know, then
Wow.
Karina needed to try and open up a new email account and all that. All right. So at this point,
I'm looking right now. She signed up twice for Thursday session. I'm going
okay.
to remove one of them.
Yes.
And then,
Is it, which email address did she use for Thursday?
let me have to go back to state.
Okay.
Thursday she used, yeah, see, this will cause all kind of problems in the system because that means she's going to have multiple records.
Yes. Oh,
We
and then
don't need but one record. Otherwise, we could mix you up. You know, it could just have dastardly consequences. So
now there's
her middle name's Patricia, right?
yes, there's
Yep,
an
she's
email
got.
address that is 2021@gmail.com. That one does not work.
Okay, edit. So, okay.
2021 does not exist. She was going to call it 2021, and then it ended up that she created it as 2020. Karina
Okay,
Davis.
so update. Okay, so I've updated it. I mean, do not match. Email addresses do not match. Oh, okay. Let me do this. I didn't realize I had to put it in twice. Okay. I'm changing it here. But we need to use one email address, and it needs to be her go-to that she uses all the time.
All the time.
Otherwise, it's confusing because you check this one and you don't check that one, and that's where we send it to.
Yes.
We need to make this real easy.
Now, I actually have a daughter that's a freshman at Purdue right now. She went through academic boot camp, just really an amazing program. She's there. She's on campus.
What's her name?
Araceli Davis.
I recognized when I saw your name, I said, why is her name so familiar to me?
Yes. And well, Karina goes to the same high school as Araceli. They have two different counselors. Araceli had a certain counselor for her senior year. Karina has a different counselor. Araceli's counselor never said to her to create different email accounts for college stuff.
Oh
so
my God.
Araceli used her regular email. Now there's confusion now with Karina because she's in between this. She's trying to create new accounts. Well, go on.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Finish what you're saying.
So she's trying to open up accounts while she was trying to register for these programs, and it turned out that it just kind of got lost in the shuffle with which account she was going to use.
No, hopefully this is what the counselor meant. Students open a college email account and everything related to college goes to that one account so that everything's in one place.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you should do if you're gonna open one like that and just use that one for college. And if you want to do some students do that, not a lot of them, but a few. I see a few students do that. But you definitely don't want many accounts, because if you have 4 accounts with us, then it becomes very confusing.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm going to go through, tell me which one, or maybe she needs to decide which one we want to be using. And we're going to get rid of all the other ones.
Yes.
And just have one.
Well, are you able to change the one for Wednesday to a different email number? I
changed it to Karina Davis 2020. I can change that one to Karina Davis 2020 as well.
Yes, let's go with Karina Davis 2020 at gmail.com for everything.
And let's just use that only.
Yes, and I'm going to advise her that she not use anything else.
Okay. Well, I think we're doing good.
So then she's going to receive confirmations for each one separately.
I don't know if it's already gone out, so I don't know if it will get one now, because it thinks it's already said. This is system generated.
Okay.
The others I'm doing manually, so I can catch something like that. This is just through the system, so I can send her the link. I'll send her the link. I'll send her an email link about it.
Okay, that sounds great.
For both of them.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yes, we're hoping everything goes well for her for Purdue as well. Thank you.
Yes. Well, how was the session for you tonight?
Oh, it was great. I learned something new every time. I really do. Every time I try not to miss anything. And then if I miss it, I end up watching it on YouTube. Just because as I said, I pick up different things.
Right. It's so much information.
It is.
It really is. We have an enjoyable evening.
You
and it's
too.
always, this is my first time meeting you. I've talked to you on the phone before, like last summer. But now I get to meet you.
Yes. And then hopefully we'll have another Boilermaker in the family. We'll just wait and see.
Our fingers crossed.
Yes. Likewise. Okay. Thank you. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Nice meeting you.
You too.
You take care.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.